right, welcome everyone. It's Rob. Let's go ahead and make sure you all can hear me. If you would please type the number 1 in the questions box, or the chat box rather, so I know that you can. All right, yes, Brenda, brand new format. All right, that is my YM notes going off here today. Welcome everyone. I hope you are having a fantastic day. Jim had typed in first thing before we got started here. He had typed in a note that when my screen went full, when Power Hour screen came up, the chat box went away. I exited full screen and had the chat box back. You might want to let the other users know it so they can get the chat box that they can hear us. So you can go ahead and pull that up. As Jim said, you can minimize your chat box. I mean, your full screen, and that will give you access to it. Yeah, new format with sounds. Exactly, Jim. The sounds were radar station going off is what the sounds were today. That was my trade station. It's been a rip-roaring day. My wife came home a little while ago. She gets home for lunch, and she said, "Hey, what's going on?" I even heard it in school about the market today. So, and they heard it because of the COVID breakout in Europe. And that's the reason they're claiming that the markets are down, is because of what's going on with COVID and the resurgence in Europe. You know, the country that said the US wasn't allowed in there? Yeah, that one. The resurgence over there, they shut down part of some of the countries there. Oh boy, the Russell is just giving me all kinds of signals. Check it out. So she heard about it, and I said, yeah. She goes, well, has it been a good day today? I said, it's been an absolutely phenomenal day today. She said, don't you teach in a little while? I said, in a little bit. She said, and you're not canceling it? I said, no, I can't cancel it. Too many people are committed there. We got a couple hundred people scheduled to be in. It's too crazy of a day not to go in. If I see something and I have to manage something, folks, I will put you on pause, and I will go in and jump in to manage that position. But for now, we're good. So, yeah, thank you for not canceling. Exactly, Jim. Hey Robert, how you doing? Morning, Helen. Sean said you could also move your mouse to the bottom of the screen if you want to stay in full screen. You can move your mouse to the bottom of the screen, and you can see the chat pop up there. Hey Sean, I got a great idea. I think you should do a video, Sean, from your computer on using Zoom, and let's post it on YouTube, so that our users know, our students know exactly what to do using that. I think that would be a great idea.
Sounds good to me. I'll keep that in mind.
All right. Hey, Raj, how you doing? Yeah, Jim said, I agree. Yeah, I think it's a good idea. I really do. I think it's good to help you guys go. So let me know that you're seeing what I'm seeing, because that's the only one thing that I don't have an advantage of here is I cannot see the exact screen that I'm sharing. Are you guys seeing the disclaimer right now on the screen? Disclaimer. Okay. Easy for there's a lot of brand new people in here, just so you know. You can write yes. You can write any words you want. That's okay. I read them all, but 1 for yes, 2 for no. Real easy way to get through this. I just got to figure out if there's a way that I could see what you see. You know, on GoToWebinar, I had a format for that I could see that. And here it's just a little bit different, where I can't seem to find that piece. All right. Anyway, let's go ahead and jump in. So we had mastermind group this weekend, the Inner Circle. Oh, my goodness gracious. That 8 hours, which actually wound up being more than 8.5 hours, was absolutely amazing. My goodness, I got emails and text messages thanking me afterwards. The comments at the end were outstanding on how much it was. Traders that are trading the market full time in there saying, Rob, I need to revamp some of my strategies after the things you taught us this week. Oh, my goodness gracious. And no kidding, folks. There were things I taught in there that I have never, ever, ever taught anyone anywhere before about the things of how I trade and what I use and so forth. So yeah, Jim, it was 8 hours over 2 days. Normally this would have been, remember, Inner Circle, our mastermind group live, is meant to be 4 days a year in New York, full days. You fly to New York, stay in a hotel. We start at 9 o'clock in the morning. We go till 5 o'clock at night. And it's not like, oh, Rob, only 9 to 5. No. everybody's spent after 8 hours. They're done. About 2 o'clock, you get the look kicking in already, right? Whether it's lunch combined with overwhelmed or what. But so we do it now to break it up online where you don't have the interaction there. We do it as a meeting so everybody sees each other, can talk and so forth. And we break it up over 2 days. And we hit a couple of different strategies in there on trading, particularly finding entries and exits, which was fantastic. Monster Market Mover is coming out tomorrow. For those of you that are not registered and have not registered for it in the last couple of months, $29 is the cost for the very first one in, guys. You are crazy not to take advantage of it. Mastermind group, which is our online mastermind group, is September 29th. That date is going to move to the beginning of October. I'll have a better date for you in a day or so. And then Trading You, the next one is October 7th. Power Hour, here we are today. Now, Brandon's got 2 more classes on the docket for top 3 trading strategies. That is Wednesday and Thursday, 8 p.m. and 12 p.m. respectively, right? Look at each one. Make sure you check it out, folks. He's making over 20 grand a month on the calls that he does in the training, in the class. Power Option Plays, Covered Call Explorer, E-mini Think Tank, all on track this week for what we're doing there. So everything is on schedule. All right, here's a follow us page. I'm going to ask anybody right now that is not on our YouTube to go out and subscribe to our YouTube. Go to YouTube, search Wealth Builders HQ, and hit enter, and go ahead and hit subscribe. Hit the bell so you get all of our content. You get notified when new content comes out, because YouTube, Facebook, all of them tend to block some of those things if you're not looking for them. You want to see what we're doing? That's how you do it. But help us out. Push the numbers up, folks. Go get that done for me. I greatly appreciate it. All right. With that, let's go ahead and jump in. Oh, screen sharing has stopped. All right. That's not what I wanted to have happen. So I guess, Sean, I need to share each item then. Is that correct?
No, you can either choose an application or you can choose an entire screen. It's up to you.
So how do I get the screen?
All right, by hitting share screen, you should be able to select.
Okay, now I'm seeing it. Now I see screen. Got it. Okay.
Yep, okay.
I clicked off. I went to advanced and then back. Sorry for the learning curve here, folks. We're dealing with it the same way you guys are. There's the YM today. It has been an absolutely outstanding position. You guys tell me, how has your trading been today? How's trading gone? Let's see. We got Scalper Ed in here with us today. Let's see. We do. Ed, how has trading gone for you today? Let's see. Oh, that's awesome, Sean. I appreciate that message. Thank you. All right. Facebook, oh, where'd that go? Facebook blocks things. Who would have known that? Yeah, go figure, right, Robert? Trader Will said, holding my short positions in tech, making money. There you go. Ed said, it's going good. One contract, which means he needed a couple $100 and he's up $300 on the one contract, right? Fantastic. I love it. I love it. ADM, ATVI, and SPY is what Trader Will is talking about. Trader Ed, Scalper Ed said, I got out too early. It happens, right, Ed? It happens. Were you trading in the pre-market or did you wait until after the market opened? Because I didn't do much in the pre-market. And then if you're watching the futures, pre-market was down. Come on. There we go. Pre-market was down, right? But by the time we would have noticed, me, right? I'm not out of bed till 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, somewhere around there, right? So I'm here. We already had all this move down. I'm not these 4 a.m. guys. I'm not Kevin, who's up at 4 a.m. setting alarms on his triggers and such, right? Here we've got this move in here. Here we get 7:30. We got to push back down 8:40, and now I got a line. I'm like, aha, I need to watch that level. Yes, right? And that's exactly what I did. I watched on that level, and look what it did. TradeStation, always on days of volatility like this, is terrible with a refresh rate. All right, there we go. So we got this push up. We went above the horizontal line, right, which is a support for these two areas here, right? We pushed up, we came into these moving averages, and we failed, right? And I took that breakout with my stop up here, and what a great move, and I had a stop out here, basically above the 8 moving average, second candle above. So we got to close a little bit higher, and I was out here. So call it 26,770 is the exit, right? The entry came in right under the 26,957. So I wound up in that because it moved so quick. I wound up in that about 940. So 26,940. So if we get a calculator, come on, there we go. 26,940 minus 26,770. No, I did something wrong. It is not 3,000 points. That's for sure. We really only need the 940 minus 770. So it's 170 points, right? 170 points, and we multiply that by 5 because each point is worth $5, and that's an $850 move per contract. For most of you, you can take the day off with $850. If you did multiple contracts, I do a little bit more than one. If you do multiple contracts, you probably could take the week off, right? For one trade that got you out of that trade. Well, let's do it this way. It got you in the trade at 10:05. It got you out of the trade at 11:10. So an hour and 5 minutes. Not too shabby. Right. Rick said better early than late. Ed, exactly. Barry said screensavers is missing, so the normal feedback arrow and type entry box. I think you just got to go to the bottom of the screen and move your mouse down there, Barry, and it gives you a pop-up for the chat box. I broke my chat out separate, so I can still see it, but I put it on a separate screen so I can focus on it. It's just trying to get used to all of the layout here of everything. Okay, excellent, good. So it was a nice one, and it wasn't just on futures, folks. I mean, I don't care what your market was. Futures, Forex is killing it. I got a buddy of mine call me. He's crushing it today with what's going on in Europe. He's absolutely knocking it out of the park, right? Haven't talked to Brandon yet to see how he's done, but same thing. I mean, Forex is just doing amazing today, as well as stocks. I mean, look, here we go. If you sort by let me sort by the biggest changes. We don't have a lot of big movers up, right? So we've come back a little bit on Amazon. We were down about 80 points before on Amazon, but what a great move. You got the gap down, you got a half gap fill and a fail. Once again, failed around that moving average and just crushed in there from 29.40 all the way down to 28.80. So just phenomenal move on Amazon, right? They were the bigger one, right? Google was about $32.50, gap down, push into the moving average, and a fail. Gee, go figure. CMG, push down. We got close to the moving average, but not really where I like to see it, and the fail. We came back a little bit, but United Healthcare, down $15. They just ran. It was just, they're a gap and go. Those of you that are in the gap trading stats, you definitely want to focus on the gap strategies that are in there for the gap not filled. That's what today was with some of these gaps. You knew they weren't going to fill. Absolutely not. Follow the rules. Roman, are you in here today? See, sorry, I got a big list to scroll through here. Roman, how did you take anything on gap today for a gap and go? So let me know. Yeah, Barry, there's definitely differences between this platform, Zoom, and the GoToWebinar. Absolutely is. Robert said chat is Alt plus H. So hold down the Alt and hit the H at the same time and it pops up. Robert, you're awesome. Thank you. So here we go. Here we go. I said, Roman, did you do a gap trade today? He typed back in, yes. And then I did Netflix. It went very well, $3,500 in profit. We'll call it a paper trade for the sense of we don't talk about funded trades. But $3,500 on one stock today. Awesome. I love it. I love it. I love it. Beautiful. Let's go grab Netflix. I know it's on here. All right. So Netflix, all right, what a move. Had a quick gap and a gap fill all in that first 5-minute candle today, and then just rocketed. Follow the rules for getting out of those trades. You can make a lot more money than just a gap if you follow some of the advanced rules in there. Good job on that, Roman. Good job today. Yeah, Rick said smoking. Absolutely. Ellen said Qs may still fill today. I'm testing the pivot points. All right, good. Excellent. You know, QQQ, interesting position. All right. Let's see. So they've come back up to about where their highs were. So put in a double top. So obviously some caution there with that double top pattern. You can see the overall market for the daily down on the bottom center chart is bearish. Right, pulling down. We're getting a quick little bounce on the 1 minute, but you still need to watch on the ones. They're looking for that topping pattern right in there as resistance. So 64.60, we're at 64.11. If you want, there's a potential quick pop there. Stop is pretty tight down below that 57 level somewhere. But your target is only up here about 64.60. So you don't have a lot of room to move if we get the bounce. And you are fighting the overall trend, which is bearish on overall market. Okay? Fantastic. Excuse me. So what's the big news out there today? Supreme Court Justice passing away, right? Ginsburg passing away and leaving an open seat. And then you see all of the politicians who in the past have said the president should not be allowed to have a nomination. And then someone else said they should be allowed. And one guy said, here's my thought, and you could use it against me in the future, which they did today on one of the Republicans who said you shouldn't be able to do it. And then today agreed with the president, and they went right back at him with it. Joe Biden, I guess, has flip-flopped. They had one of the news stations had him 4 different times saying, you should, you shouldn't, you should, you shouldn't. And here's my question. Is the president no longer the president? Because I thought he was. And if he is, then why can't any president, not because it's Trump, any president make that decision? You're still the president of the United States. He's got a couple more months. So, you know, if we're saying his term ends, no decisions made after August 1st, great, then that's a different rule. But that's not the case, right? But regardless of your position, between what's going on there with Ginsburg, which they are saying now that we do not believe that any stimulus package will be reached at all. We're looking to throw the market in a turmoil. My mastermind group students, whether it's Inner Circle or mastermind group, it is time to pull out the SPY strategy and start looking at buying leaps and start looking at how to trade that downside. The leap part is over, right? At looking at trading the downside, right? We talked about the protection portfolio. If you've already bought into your portfolio and you've got your long puts on there and you've been writing covered calls against it, it is time to start following the rules for when the market starts to break. And if you remember, we had a 5-step formation in there, a 5-step pattern that said it's time. We're getting close to some of that. It is time to start looking at it, because right now, if we cannot get the stimulus package, they just called out that restaurant organization said 40% of restaurants will not make it through the end of this year if they do not have a stimulus bailout. And the stimulus that they're looking for still may not be enough to fix them. Airlines getting crushed today. The markets, it's not just the market looking like garbage today. It's the overall economy and the effect on what the economy will be. But they're saying with all of the focus that's going to be fighting on the new Supreme Court justice, and even Pelosi came out today and said something about, well, we're going to do an impeachment. What, is this just like a word? It's time to impeach somebody, right? And folks, again, whether you think it's right or wrong, how does the leader step out and say, we're going to impeach him? For what? You haven't accused them of anything. You're impeaching? No, this goes right back to the same filibuster garbage where someone can tie something up on the floor for days, right? It goes back to all of these things that it has nothing to do with what the American people want. Nothing at all. If Trump did something wrong, as anybody, they need to go to jail for it. No ifs, ands, or buts, period. But if you're doing it just for the sake of we're not going to let you pick a Supreme Court justice, I don't know. We are, as the country, are the ones that are suffering. The good thing is, You know, we as a company, Wealth Builders, has seen an explosion of people coming in. Even here, we've got we got a very large group here today with us. I wouldn't say the biggest we've had, but and that's because in the last 6 months, we've seen massive numbers inside of this room every single Monday, right? I would not call it the biggest number that we've seen, but we're on the top 10% for sure. Why? Because people realize that their job isn't going to cut it. People realize the real estate market may not cut it right now. Well, no, I can buy houses, Rob, really cheap. Yes, okay, good for you if you can find them cheap. I'm not finding anything cheap. I spoke with a real estate investor over the weekend at my brother-in-law's 50th surprise birthday party, and there's no cheap anymore. But Rob, I'm still, if I find something, I could still rent it out. Oh yeah, that works. I don't know about where you are in New York. We got tenants that aren't paying rent. Why? Because the governor said they don't have to. No, it's okay. They can't throw you out. The bank said, I want my money. And even more importantly, Nassau County, the county that I live in, said, hey, buddy, I want my taxes. No, I don't care that you're not getting rent. Pay me the taxes. This lopsided junk, gotta be careful, watch your tongue there. This lopsided junk of what the government is doing is absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. It is just complete craziness. And who's suffering? The average person, with the goal of separating middle class to either poor or wealthy. And it's not going to happen where you push to wealthy if you're in middle class. You're going in the opposite direction, right? That's the goal, is to make you more dependent upon the government. Always has been. There was, I guess, Kamala Harris stepped into an ethnic restaurant down in, I think it was Miami, somewhere down in South Florida. And the owner was ticked that she walked in there. It was a Hispanic restaurant. She salsa'd her way into the store is what they said. And the owner got on saying, don't use my store as your political, ground. No matter who I'm voting for. And he didn't say. He said, you don't come into my store and do that. And then someone got on and said, you do know that where she just came, most of these people are from Cuba. Where in Cuba, they have a socialist government. He said, they'll never vote for a socialist platform. Never. So there's a lot of mud being slung. All of this to say there's a lot of mud being slung every day, right? And you need to make sure that you are not sitting here looking like this at your chart every day. You need to make sure that you're doing this and you're sitting back and you're analyzing with very much in-depth critique of what the market and the stocks that you're looking to trade are doing, and then and only then making a conscious decision. Because the decision based on what the news says every day, you're all over the place. Now, don't get me wrong. The news is helping to drive a direction. I'm not trading bullish today because I think the market's going to recover at some time or the economy is going to recover. I'm trading bearish today. Why? Because that's what the market's giving us. Until the market flips around, until the S&P 500 goes back into some bullish connotation today and gives me a reason to trade it bullish, I ain't. What in the world? Oh, but Rob, it got above the moving averages. Yeah, but look at where it was yesterday. Can you find a short-term intraday trade? Possibly. But if we go back and look at the S&P 500, come on, baby. There we go. You go and look at the S&P 500, it's in bearish territory. It was in bearish neutral on Friday. I was trying to clean my desk up before we get started here. It was actually not bearish. It was in neutral on Friday. Neutral territory, and we went right down into bearish today. And look what we gapped. Right to that 32.91 level and failed right off of there. Right, so we go back and look intraday. Right, here's the gap, and we just failed. Now we've gone up a little bit, and that's okay. It's also lunchtime. Excuse me. It's also lunchtime, right? But overall, you need to make sure that you step back and analyze what's happening, but you also need to understand what the potential ramifications are with what's out there being said. What are businesses concerned with right now? Yeah, but Rob, do we care about businesses? Yes, because they're the ones that we're trading, businesses. If you're worried about it from a market standpoint, which may have a totally different effect than an economic standpoint. Let me ask you, people in New York, which is where I'm from, what's going to happen if the president gets his agenda pushed through the attorney general, and they stopped funding New York because they will not stand up for the business owners and the people of the state. What's going to happen to your taxes, to your services, if the government, the federal government, steps in and does that? I don't believe that the governor or the mayor or anybody else is going to take all of that away from police, because the federal government would step in with the armed forces without a doubt. Right, and put martial law in place and just shut everything down. Right, but what happens to us as a state? What happens to your property taxes? What happens to other taxes? I mean, look at New Jersey. They raised taxes on gas because not enough people bought gas in the last couple of months, so they lost revenue. So they're penalizing us, the average person. I'm not saying that the money doesn't have to come from somewhere, but they're penalizing us for that. Right? I mean, heck, Jersey is more money than New York is now in many cases for gasoline. People used to drive to New Jersey, pay the toll to get the gas because it was cheaper. All right. Let's see. Yeah, and those who can will leave. Okay, so let's go there. My brother-in-law's Sal is his name. His father-in-law, he and I are great friends. As a family, we're all great friends with her parents, my sister-in-law's parents, and their sister and brother-in-law, and all of us. Very good, very close. Her father manages a very large building in Manhattan. And I asked him, this weekend, Miguel, how is everything at the building? He said, Rob, the first time in 35 years that I am there, that seven apartments are empty. They're $1 million+ apartments. He said, 7 of them are empty. I said, really, what's going on? He said, who wants to live in New York? He said, they're all leaving. I said, what's the outlook? He said, we're expecting 20% of the apartments to come empty by the end of the first quarter. 20%. Why? Because the people that have those apartments also have a home in the Hamptons, or they have a home in Connecticut. They have a home somewhere else down south, and they're moving out and giving up on that apartment. Now, the governor and the mayor say, oh, that's okay. They'll come back. Yeah, okay. Sure they will. Sure they will. When you're afraid to walk down the street, not really sure. Not sure. Yeah, so Robert, so what about Minneapolis? Yeah, businesses, property. Yeah, our taxes in New York, Robert, you're right, are insane. Yeah, same in St. Louis, Ed said, yeah. Let me see. Just want to see if I missed anything. For every action, there's a reaction. No question, PK. Absolutely. Trader Will said half of his renters, I'm not sure who that was, but half his renters have underpaid since April. Yeah. It's just, Denver is great real estate. Something is down 10,000 in 3 months due to non-payment of rent. Yeah, it's crazy. So Oscar, I saw that Sean typed some stuff in there for you, so that will help for those videos, right? But here we're talking what? We're talking about what's going on in the market, how the economy, how the local news affects the market. So again, Oscar, for you, for everybody, I want you to take that information and do this with it. This right here is, I'm not jumping into anything on what Rob just said. I'm sucking it all in, taking what Rob is teaching me, taking what Brandon is teaching me, taking what Tony is teaching me. For those of you that don't know, other coaches here at Wealth Builders, right? And taking that and deciphering that and creating a plan of how I want to attack the market, right? Because it's simple enough, Oscar. If we look at Home Depot from today, right? And I'm going to make a full screen of Home Depot, right? And I know I've got drawing tools around somewhere. Let's see what that is. Annotations. Okay. Hopefully that stays open. Draw. Okay. So I just want freehand. I guess that's it. So let's see. Yep. There we go. Can we get a different color? Let's use some white. All right. So here's Home Depot. So Home Depot closed up here, right? and opened right here. Close, open. Okay. And what happened? We had a pull down and this move back up. And you can see, look left, right? Many of you know that phraseology from me. We've got this horizontal support in here, right? And what happened? We pushed up above that level. We got right up to the 8 moving average and we failed. So right there, Oscar, was a great opportunity. And for everybody, it was a great opportunity to take Home Depot as a trade. Let's see. Clear all drawings. Okay. So watch. If I go into the option chain, and the one I did this morning, we got Home Depot already up there, was the, let me just, the 280. All right. So the 280 put. All right. I'll click on it, which will load a chart up for us. It should load a chart. There we go. Okay. So that's not going to work. Watch. I need to do this first. So where was that? That push came up right in there about 10 o'clock in the morning. Okay. So 10 o'clock was the closing candle, right? 10:05 was our push down. Watch what happens. Go back to the option chain, go back to the 280. All right. So we're looking at, there's our 10:05 candle. Remember I said 10 o'clock, 10:05, that was 9:55, nothing traded at 10. The next one was at 10:05, right? The options price was $11 at 10:05. Right now it's at $13.75. $10, $11. $11 means you need $1,100 to do one contract. You would sell it for $13.75 or whatever the bid-ask spread, comes down to. But right now, that was the last time it traded. But right now it is at 12. It's actually at 11.90. You'll get 12 and a quarter for it. So not too shabby. Not too shabby. 11 to 12. So you got $125 per contract of profit in there. If you spent $11, you're about 10% rate of return. I think I'm going to move this over here. Chat box is messing me up being on the top screen there. So let me put it where I normally have got the GoToWebinar one. Maybe that'll make it easier for me to see it. Yeah, the reason I'm looking away is here's the microphone and that's my far left screen. I can be looking here at the center screen or all the way over here at the far right screen. Yeah, so Amos said, I'll take it. Of course, all day long. So Linda said, does that mean day trading should be what we focus on? Swing trading is harder right now, Linda, because we don't have a clear direction. We didn't anyway. When I went over the pop video over the weekend with power option plays over the weekend, I talked about where the market was, which was in a neutral bias, which meant day trade. We just dropped into a bearish bias. We're not true bear, but it's bearish. So we now can take 4 contract directional trades to the bearish side. Bullish, you better be real excited about that stock before you want to take a bullish candidate at this point with what the market is doing. Do we have some that are moving up? Absolutely. Let's see. I think Walmart was up this morning. Well, it was up a little bit, down now from where it was, but it closed down here. It's up, but we're not in bullish territory. But we are much closer to bullish than we are to bearish right now on Roku. Yes, there you go, Roman. $23 to the upside today. Great move. This was actually a conversation over the weekend of Roku with someone that was the same person that the couple that was at one of the couples at my brother-in-law's house she's a real estate investor. He's retired, but dabbles in the market with no rhyme or reason as to why. He goes on Robinhood app and he starts typing letters in on his phone, and it gives him suggestions for stocks. And he goes, and if he likes what he sees, he buys it, right? Okay. But we talked about Roku and the built-in business where TV companies are licensing it and so forth, right? But great move on Roku today, right? John S. is someone that was in Mastermind Group with us last year. This was one of his favorite day trading stocks was Roku, right? But we pushed up and we're at that 185 level. Tough to try to do anything with it today. So Deborah said, what's driving it so high today? You know, I don't know, Deborah. I didn't look into it. I'm more about this, Deborah. When we broke that 169.14, and I'm going to write that number down, 169.14, I'm very much about the pattern that took place at that 169.14. So we bring up a chart of Roku. I definitely want to back it out a little bit. Okay. Oh, there's the 169.14, right? We already had that line drawn in there. So what happened? And that was drawn in from over the weekend. What happened? We got this move up and we closed here. I am very much, Deborah, about did we get a retest off of that 169.14 level? Let's see. This candle right there had a low of 169.32. So 169.32, 169.14, 18 cents difference. We destroyed, as far as I'm concerned, we nailed that line right on the line. I don't care you're off by 20, 30, 50 cents. You hit it. You're right there. Doesn't have to be exact. It's got to be in the area, right? We hit it and we bounced. Was that an opportunity? Guys, look at this. If you look at Roku today, that was a 935 candle, right? If we go over and look at an option chain on calls, right? And let's go about here and look at that option, right? Watch. This is the option this morning. We're looking for 935. That option was going for, the high was 785. Heck, let's just call it $8. Right now it's trading at 17. So if I got the pattern I was looking for on the overall move, Deborah, that was more important to me than what caused it, right? I'm more about the pattern than I am about reading all the news. Now, don't get me wrong. I listen to what's going on CNBC. You can't see it right now, I don't believe, no. But over my left shoulder is CNBC, it's on, right? And I can look over my shoulder, get a quick look at what crude is doing right now or whatever the news is. The Qs, it shows TQQQ is down to 70. I can get a quick glance at what's happening in the market. I don't listen to it most of the day, but it's on, meaning it's there. If I'm doing something else in the office, it's there. Because when something comes up on the screen, my eyes seem to just catch it and I can turn around because I'd be facing this way on my other computer, my regular non-trading computer. I'm here and all I do is turn around and now I'm at my six-pack to trade. Yeah, so Amos said the trade would have been off of the retest during the 1 minute. Exactly, Amos. I just didn't want to go into all of the details behind it, but yes. Robert said, I think Peacock reached an agreement with Roku to have Peacock on Roku. There you go. I appreciate that, Robert. That's very, very good info. Roku surges at the company adds NBC's Peacock service to streaming platform, which Trader will. Excellent. And I mean, that's just it, Deborah. It's easy enough to find it if it's important to you, without a doubt. Without a doubt, right? Okay, so let's go check out some companies. Amos was asking about, was it okay to take a bearish trade on Facebook off of the 618 fib line retest? So if we just do that from here, let's go look at Facebook. And actually, I'm going to switch over the list we're in. Come on. There we go. Just so I have everything, I can see all the details inside of the symbol grid here. So would it have been okay to take the trade off of the 618? You know, if you were looking for a bearish trade, Amos, possibly. But remember the things we talked about over the weekend about clear and concise entries. You know, we had that gap down. You went a full standard deviation, right? You went, and if you guys that were in the class over the weekend, look in your manuals, there's a section on standard deviation. We just didn't get a chance to get into it. We moved one full standard deviation already. I would be very hard pressed to try to take any real decision off of that move. If we look, Facebook has a normal $10 move per day. We went from 53 to 47, we'll call it. So about $6 on that gap. So we didn't quite get the full move, but I just don't see us going 2 standard deviations all in one day as a norm for us. All right. So drop in the symbols that you want me to take a look at. Micron, and this is where, and I don't see him in here. So the guy that I told you about over the weekend who's trading the market, I said, listen, come in and check out our free training and what we do every week. And he's like, yeah, I don't know. And the wife goes, why don't you want to go? And he goes, because he's going to try to sell me something else. I said, well, okay. It's a free training. We don't have things that we say, oh, this is all about the new product that we have or something in there. This is all about what's going on in the market and me looking at your stock. So before you go and buy a stock and you tell me now that you bought Apple at $130 something and now it's trading at under 100 or around 100, and you know, what should I do? Should I have bought it there? You could at least ask the question and get an understanding of that first. Okay. So we look at Micron, MU, we had that gap down. So where are we, Trip? We're pinned between the 8 and the 618 line. All right, a little bit tougher. Earnings coming up on the 29th. I would be very cautious, only day trade, and I would really want to see from a bullish perspective only with the way the pattern is still set up. Can we get a bounce off of the 49.64, move up, bounce off the 49.64, 51.38, which is not big, but that would be our next target to into our 764. Let's see. You're welcome, Amos. GME. Hope that helped, Trip. GameStop. GME. All right. Overall rock and roll move. Let's get a fib on here. Come from that swing low to that swing high. Not a big move because of price of stock. But the 8 is getting close, not quite a confluence, but we're close. We're in the range, right? The pull down, I'd like to see it close a little bit lower would be great because the 8 will actually, the 8 will probably still move up, even with a little bit smaller close because of these big moves recently are still counted in the overall average. And these are starting to disappear these days of sideways and down. So give me the bounce off the 845, 964, and 1013 are the 2 upside targets, Robert, I see on GME. I don't know if I've got data for that, Lewis. Let's see. Let me do it here. USZ20. I do. Okay. All right. So 30-year bond. So I am not a bond trader. So as far as the mechanics behind it, I don't have, right? If I swap this over to a daily chart, so you could, all right, there we go. That's better. So as I make it too small, everything looks flat. And that's because of where the bond contract did not have very much volume at all. And you could see that over to the left with these hash marks, that just a little dash, and it gapped all over the place. A little more consistency as this became the current contract to trade, right? But you'd want to work off of the continuous of it in there. But if we look, short-term moves, and again, Brandon does this type of stuff all day long in the E-mini think tank when he does in futures. But we had the move down. We got a false H pattern, which pushed up to the 382. We failed. We went back to the 382. We failed. It looks like we're pinned in that 175 and 22nd teenies and 177 and 16s, right? 30 seconds, right? Inside of there, right? So we've got 27. So you've got a little bit of a move inside of there, but nothing, that just kind of opens it up a little bit there. 175 to 177. So we've got a buck and a half, buck and a quarter maybe. I've never been a fan of this. There's 530 seconds left here, plus you already moved 6. 6 and 5 is 11. So a third, So it's 3/8. It's about 1 3/8 is inside of here. I hate this. That should not be 630 seconds. That should be 3/16, right? Not 630 seconds. But you're in a very narrow range right now, Lewis, on this. So there's my tops and bottoms. And you could see it's hitting it, over and over again every day. And it is just that. It's a daily chart we've got this set up on right now. I tend to look more to the 5s, right? So I would draw those lines, the lines we had in a daily chart. I would take those two lines, the 177 and 630 seconds and the 175 and 2730 seconds, and I'd have those drawn on my chart. I would have them alarmed as you hear keeps bouncing up. My Russell, my RTY keeps giving me a trigger in there. Nothing I need to act upon, but it keeps giving me triggers based on my rules of what we're looking for. Okay, hope that helped there, Lewis. CRM, John's asking for. All right. So actually, let's go here. CRM. I've got more fibs drawn here than I do on anything else. So we're sitting right at a 50 right now on CRM, John. So we could have an upside down H pattern, which is I cannot use white though. It will not be seen. Okay. So here's the H. We get the move up, we get this move down, and we get the bounce. Right? We're looking for the bounce. If it comes and bounces off of the 238, which is the 50 percentile, we're looking for a 2-line bounce, which is a 2 standard deviation move, which takes us up to 260, 260. All right? So that's what we're looking for if we get the bounce. Now, we're in neutral bias right now. Moving averages are in a great pattern. They are the moving averages, not the trade. The moving averages are aligned properly, so we could call that bullish. As far as the alignment goes, drawing to a little closer. As far as the alignment goes, we can call it bullish, but when we're in a neutral bias right now. Get me above the 249, and I'd be looking at the 262 as my target on CRM. Caterpillar, CAT. I see DocuSign in there. No. We'll look at DocuSign in a minute. Okay. We were doing great on Caterpillar. And then we had an awesome gap to the downside. Caterpillar moves $4.25 a day or so, 24 cents a day. And here we've already got $6.90 as the move. Right? Now, keep in mind, this is 15-minute delay. So if you're looking at a real-time chart, you might see it slightly different than I do. Right? But right now we're in a neutral bias. What does that mean? Day trade. No directional picks, no directional trades. But on CRM, Caterpillar rather, Mike, on CAT, not CRM, on CAT, for me to take a directional trade, I want it above the 150.74, and I'd be looking for the 155 as a target. The great thing about it is I've got confluence at that 150.74 with the 8 moving average, especially if we get above it. It'll be a good alignment of the two. Hope that helps. Let's see, DocuSign. You're welcome, John. So DocuSign, we've actually, from a Fibonacci standpoint, we had a fib drawn from here to here, and we gave it all back. I don't know where my fib went, but I had something drawn in there. From here to here. And that was because this, was it this one? One of these candles, this big white candle or the big black candle, one of them had gotten above on a close on this -618. I think it was the white candle. And it was time to redraw. So we redraw, and everything we drew, everything we've got here has, the fib is no longer really valid. So we're really focused on the previous fib again anyway. So even though it's a better fib, we're really focused on this one. Better meaning it's closer to the right side of the chart. We're focused on this one. Why? Well, we're focused on it because next one we drew had been violated. So that fib really didn't give us any validity in our chart. There we go. So there's an F4. So right now we are in a neutral bias, but we're closer to bearish than we are bullish. So I would prefer to see the fail under the 197 level and look at 184 as your next target. It's a great, great movement for it. It's because I had futures up there. So let's go Apple. And let's see if the option chain, there we go. So let's go take a look at Docu. Look at DocuSign. I've got plenty of open interest, right? Let's see. We want a 65 delta. So here we are, 65 delta, 152, 68 delta, 152 OI, decent volume on it as well. We're looking at 1055 by 95. Considering this is a volatile stock anyway because of COVID stock, being a COVID stock, right? I'm not concerned with a 40, 50 cent bid-ask spread in there at all. You can negotiate it down to that 1080, you're okay, but that's the position. If you're looking at a day trade, that's the position I would be looking for on a put, right? If we're looking at a put, which is roll back under that 197, your strike price might differ when it gets there. Might differ when it gets there. But that's the way I'd be looking. It's just their options are a little bit higher in price. You know, that's this week. If you're trying to swing trade this and you want to go at least 30 days and you're looking at a put option, forget about whether or not there's even enough open interest. Let's just go find the delta, right? You're at 26 by 28, right? 26.20 by 28.65. So $2.45, $2.50 almost in bid-ask spread. Some of these COVID stocks have become very expensive in the face of options pricing there, even with the lower VIX. And if we look, actually, VIX has been very forgiving lately. Not today. I talked about this over the weekend in power option plays, right? It's not forgiving today at all, right? We're back up at that 28.5 for today, right? Now we hit up here to that 31, but I would not be surprised to see us get above 31 and hold for a little bit with what's going on. So Robert, on Trade Navigator, there is either end of day or real time, but the real time puts you a 15-minute delay on real time. So if you look at Apple, right, 107.09. $107.16, 14, 15, 6, 8. So we're off a little bit. And I notice it mostly, Robert, at the end of the day when I go to do power option plays on a Tuesday, I have to wait until, and let me rephrase that. Some of the positions are delayed, Robert, like SPX and that. I just look at everything as delayed. SPX is delayed because I don't have the real-time data on those. Didn't have the need to spend the money for the data for that one. Mike said, is it smart to try to trade the VIX? If you understand how to trade volatility, then yes, Mike, there's nothing wrong with it, but you want to make sure you got a good understanding of VIX. Robert said, I hope my friend the bear is not here today. I think I poked the bear a couple of times today. Yeah, Amos, you could take the Netflix as a Fibonacci 4-step. Absolutely. But was it, let me see. It's not even just TradeStation. Here I've got, the real-time data set up on Trade Navigator and we're in the same slowdown. So we never got to close below the 764, Amos. So we're really not at a Fibonacci 4-step trade. Just be a little cautious with that. So I hear it all the time from students saying, Rob, the stocks you trade are too expensive. I can't trade them. Really? Okay. So I can't follow what you do. If you look at power option plays as an example, because I know you can trade what's in Covered Call Explorer, and I know you can trade E-minis because we're not trading big numbers. Actually, Brandon does everything with one contract. Well, small contracts, not all one. So if you look, you've got Win is a $72 today, $72 stock. Okay. If we're going to look at an option on Win, all right, there we go. If you're trying to day trade Win, we'll look at puts, okay? And let's just go find that 67 delta, 395 by 415. Very doable. Wait a couple of seconds. At 64 went to 65, 360 by 385. You can get in for 373. You got to go out for a full, that's $373 to place the trade. You have to go out a full month of time if you're not day trading and you're trying to swing trade. You're looking at about $11, $10.50. Okay, so a little over $1,000. Now you've got to make the decision if that fits in your risk profile or not. Yeah, just all panelists is fine, Jim. All panelists is fine. Sure. All right. So, but watch. Okay. I put something together. I'm not actually ready to share it all just yet. So this goes back from the 4th of September. It's called Pop 5K. The folks in Pop and Power Option Plays have heard me talk about it. And I openly share my Pop symbols. I don't hide them from somebody, right? I openly share the symbols we have. I'm not ready to share what's in this list just yet. All right, Trip, catch you after. But you could see the price of the stock, $74. There's a 354, 103, 78, 110, 127, right? That's the price the stock was at, okay? This is over 3 weeks. We're only taking a maximum of 3 trades per week. That's it. So the first week we took 2 trades. The second week we took 3. And the third week we took 3, okay? So we've had 1 losing trade out of these 8. So about 17% of our trades have gone against us. And this is on a $5,000 account. We're up $5,292 on day trading this $5,000 account by following a very strict set of guidelines. A very, very, very strict set of guidelines. Amelia, can you tell me when is the next Mastering the Trade class? By the time we get to the next Mastering the Trade, I don't have it on my document, so I'm not seeing it on there. But by the time we get to the next Mastering the Trade class, I will be releasing this strategy inside of Power Option Plays. This will be a big part of what we teach in that POP training, which is a free included training for everybody that is subscribed at that time, even if you're on a trial. Okay. And then it will be recorded, of course, after that. And I'll talk about the mechanics of using this in conjunction with the POP list and how you should be trading it. So Jim said, doesn't matter. No, sorry, wrong one. So Ed said, how do you do all those trades, those day trades in a $5,000 account? So remember, these are stock prices, Ed. They're not option prices. So you see the number of contracts that are there? Those number of contracts constitute $1,250 or less of my $5,000 account. So here we had 1 trade each of these days right here, right? 1 trade each of those days. So every day I had $1,250 per day in maximum into the trade. Now, when I say $1,250, one of our symbols actually on the most expensive day, for the most expensive day, it's about $1,300 to do one contract. I want to put a max of $1,250, so we'll go with one contract of that. And I knew that going in. Other than that, we're good to go, right? Here we did 2 trades, which means I had $2,500 into those trades, right? The number of contracts is based on a very specific rule, or Pacific rule, depending on, if you're from Brooklyn or not, a very Pacific rule on how we do this, all right? And which I'll teach in Mastering the Trade. So I just got a message back that October 22nd is the next Mastering the Trade. Good. So in 1 month, which means I'll have 7 weeks of data behind me on this, I'll be teaching this strategy to you guys in that group. Let's see, Roman said, is it okay to do more than 10 contracts on day trading? So Roman, just like we went over the other day, that $78 stock, we talked about that one in the Mastering in the Inner Circle group, that 12 contracts fit under our $1,250. So yes, I'm okay with that. Again, assuming that there's enough open interest that you can do that with. Good, Roman. Excellent. Fantastic. So guys, check it out. I mean, really what would be an ideal situation for you is to acclimate yourself with what we do in power option plays. Right? Here we go. It's top 3 strategies. Here's power option plays. Right? Acclimate yourself with what we do inside of here. Right? Take advantage of the trial, whatever you want to do now. There's a 2-week trial on a quarterly subscription. Right? I think. Do we have a 2-week trial on here, Amelia? I may be jumping ahead of the game. I am not sure. So Amelia dropped the link in there. I just don't remember. And let me just pull it over here and see. Sometimes it just preloads. Yeah, okay. So I clicked on the quarterly, right? And it comes up total 0 for 2 weeks subscription plan, $6.95 per quarter. So you got a 2-week trial in there. That's Amelia messaging me that yes, there is. Okay. So you've got a 2-week trial in there. Learn the strategies behind what we teach in power option plays. And then as we go and roll into the October class on Mastering the Trade, which is included training for power option plays, you'll be able to start engaging in the lower cost ones. How we build the list, how we trade them, all of that stuff is part of it, right? So Amelia dropped, or Amy dropped that link in there for you, right? Amy said, awesome stuff. This works. The Pop 5K is amazing. Yeah, I taught this to the folks at the Mastermind over the weekend, the Inner Circle, and it was wowzer. Ed says, yeah, sounds like a great class. It's going to be. Absolutely. Trader Will said, I would not trade more than 8% of the open interest. And there's an internal rule, right? We talk about having at least 100 open interest, and you want to trade 10 contracts, a maximum of 10 with 100 open interest, right? So there's 10%, but it's an individual rule, and I'm okay for that. That's good. That's good. Fantastic. All right, folks, ladies and gentlemen, we are done, right? How was it? Did you enjoy it? Was it a good class? Was the training helpful? Got on my high horse a little bit there, my soapbox. It's okay though, right? So keep something in mind. I want you to stay focused on the quest to becoming a great trader. Keep crushing it. And remember, you're just one trade away. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been an honor and a privilege to have you in here today. I want to wish you the best of luck. God bless. I'm going to leave the room open a couple of minutes. You can grab the link that is in the chat box. And I will see all of you at our next updates. Take care, folks. See you then.